All my life, I've been a night owl. In college, I found myself most capable of writing essays between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And right after college, I became a freelance web designer, meaning I was my own boss. I never had to go into an office. I never had anyone to report to. I had the dream job with all of the freedom, which only made my sleep schedule worse. But one experience made me realize that my self-proclaimed night owl title was actually a complete lie. I travel from Europe back home to Canada again pretty often, meaning I frequently manage to deal with a 5 or 6 hour time zone change, and I always found switching time zones pretty easy, which made me think if I could manage to wake up 6 hours earlier from one day to the next, maybe this whole I'm not a morning person belief wasn't actually true. I started to suspect myself of being the problem. But even if that was true, why change? Well, I met Richard Branson last year. He fits in 2 tennis sessions or workouts a day. How? He wakes up early. He is on the tennis court by 6 a.m. and not wanting to pass up the chance to play with him, so was I.
Trisha,
What are your big plans today?
I'm just heading to play some tennis. Yeah. With Sir Richard Branson.
No big.
Like 6 in the morning.
Which made me think, if I woke up at 6 a.m. daily, what could I fit in which I had never had the time for before? Now, I've tried being a morning person before. I attempted the whole miracle morning routine a while back. It involves waking up and doing a meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. It didn't stick. So I'm going to devise my own morning routine. The things I want time for in my life are first, reading, and second, watching and studying YouTube. Now, I know that second bit sounds ridiculous, but that's legitimately my job, dream job, I know. I prefer a slow morning, and the fitness classes I take always tend to be at night, so instead of the morning, this works for me. I have to admit, of all of the challenges I've ever done, I'm probably the least optimistic about this one. So I'm setting 2 alarms. One is on my alarm clock for 5:45 a.m. and then the other one is on my phone. I'm going to set a bedtime reminder for 9:30 p.m. with the aim of actually getting to bed by 10 p.m. One of the things I'm not willing to sacrifice in this challenge is the amount of sleep that I get. The point of this isn't to deprive myself of sleep, that's unhealthy. The point of this is to have more usable daytime hours because I can't meet friends or go to a fitness class at 11:30 p.m. So I want to keep my number of waking and sleeping hours the same. I just want to move it all earlier in the day. Next, I looked at the science to try to hack myself into morning person status. Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, said that blue light emitting devices fool your brain into thinking that it's still daytime even though it's nighttime and you want to get to sleep. So I replaced the phone on my bedside table with a book. 10 minutes in, and no matter how riveting the read, like magic, I was tired and would want to fall asleep even at 10 p.m. Next, I needed the perfect wake-up conditions to make this realistically possible. Dr. Andrew Huberman recorded a 2.5-hour podcast on using light to optimize health, including feeling more awake in the morning. I'll save you the 2 hours and just give you the conclusion. Get sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning. It indicates to our bodies that it's daytime, and therefore getting sunlight in our eyes makes us feel more awake. The only problem is it's late winter, early spring in London, and I'm also in an apartment, and I don't have a green space right outside my door to sit in while getting sunlight in my eyes for 30 minutes. So I'm improvising. This is a Lumi. Apparently, sunlight makes us feel positive, alert, and energized naturally. Many people don't get enough bright sunlight, particularly in winter. Short, dark days can trigger a lack of energy, wanting to sleep more, and socialize less. So I put this right beside my bed, so upon waking, I could get light in my eyes, and hopefully it would help me to feel more awake. Next, caffeine. If I'm going to wake up at 5:45 a.m., I'm going to need some coffee ASAP. So I moved my Nespresso machine to directly beside my bed. And lastly, if it is cold outside, there's about a 100% chance of me staying in the cozy covers for longer. So I got a space heater too. You can bet that my husband teased me for just how many devices it requires to get me out of bed, but I'm going to have the last laugh when I wake up at 5:45 a.m. tomorrow. Wish me luck. So it's 6 a.m. I've been up for 15 minutes. I have my heater on and my Lumi is on. And I have my coffee, and this is pretty cozy. For the first week, I was surprised with how well my early mornings were actually going. I woke up feeling fully rested because I had gotten the same number of hours of sleep, and I loved the shock on my husband's face by being up and working away at 8 a.m. I started work earlier, I finished work earlier, I had more time for fitness classes and socializing and shopping. Week 2 got a bit more difficult. So I am headed to the Netherlands with friends for the weekend. We are going to go see the tulip fields. We actually attempted this exact same trip a few years ago, but when we drove up, we saw just field upon field of soil and like 1 or 2 tulips per field. And it turns out it was in early spring that year, and the tulips were all beheaded. Yes, that is apparently the technical term. They were all beheaded the week before we came. So this is attempt number 2. So wish me luck that there's actually still tulips intact. I'm going to meet friends that I haven't seen for a few months. When we get together, there tends to be a lot of late nights and wine and girl chat into the evening. So we will see how the morning person thing goes. I'm not going to be ridiculous and bring my Lumi or my heater or my espresso machine, so this should be interesting. So looking at the maps, we have a 2-hour drive ahead of us and then 1 ride through the English Channel via the Channel, which I'm so excited to take. So the thing that I love about the Eurotunnel is the fact that it looks straight out of the 80s, which it is straight out of the 80s. I think it was built in the 80s. So yeah, how it works is you drive your car onto a train, and then the train takes you under the English Channel, under the water, from Folkestone in the south of England to Calais in France, and then you drive out of the train and you're on the continent. You have to switch sides of the road because it's a different side of the road in France and England. So yeah, we are just waiting to get on the train right now.
In your carriage, the following alarm will sound.
Okay, we made it onto continental Europe and then already into Belgium as well. Get from one country to the next so quickly. Anyways, I have another 3.5 hour drive ahead of me. Should get there by like 7:30ish. Need to go to bed by 10, so hopefully should be good. Okay, so I did not get to bed by 10 p.m. We had so much fun last night catching up. I really debated what's more important to me, being a morning person or enjoying my weekend with friends. Being a morning person is definitely more important to me than scrolling through my phone at midnight or never seeming to get to a fitness class because I work too late and then I'm too late to do them. But I definitely think that social time trumps morning person status for me. Granted, if I'm not socializing, I'm loving my morning person lifestyle, so I definitely want to keep that going after this weekend for sure. After getting back to London, I attempted to get back to it. There was one thing which consistently predicted if I'd be successful or not the next morning: what time I went to bed. My little cozy morning time is so wonderful. I genuinely wake up and get to do stuff I love. I think that's been key to getting me to wake up early. If I had to wake up early and then also force myself into doing something I don't enjoy, like walking outside at 6 a.m. in the rain in London on a busy road to get sunlight in my eyes, or feel rushed out the door to go to a fitness class, I don't think this would have lasted more than one day. It would have just taken too much motivation and dedication. But since my morning routine is so lovely, coffee, light, a heater, reading something I find interesting, catching up on vlogs and videos from creators I enjoy, it's been a lot easier than I expected. Granted, a good few days of this challenge, friends visited and stayed past 10 p.m. My husband and I love going to the movies, and they often finish past 10 p.m. or 11 or midnight, or when I'm traveling, often I'm not getting home in time. This experiment taught me a few things. First, it is all about motivation. Waking up at 5:45 a.m. for no reason would not have worked. But I had a purpose. I wanted more usable hours in my day, so this was for my benefit instead of being a punishment, and psychologically, I think that did a lot. Second, to be successful with any challenging task and stick with it, you've got to align it with something that you enjoy. I did not manage to wake up at 5:45 a.m. every day, but most days I did, and honestly, I was way more successful than I expected, and I 100% put that down to the fact that I allowed myself to create an environment and do the activities that I enjoyed in the morning. I didn't rush out of bed, I still had a slow morning, and my coffee and my book, which is what I love. Third, enjoying life is the ultimate goal. So when I was having a great time with friends, that to me was more important than waking up at 5:45 the next morning.
Also has a moose on the side. I never noticed that.
Now, waking up early wasn't actually the only habit I was trying to change this year. I also had gotten into some pretty bad work habits last year, meaning that I was never achieving the goals or the timelines which I had set in my business. Watch this video next where I share exactly what I did to skyrocket my workday productivity. It was a lot more successful than the morning thing, to be honest.